Okay, so away we go. So what we're going to be looking at today is we're going to begin our look at Chapter 4, Fundamental Issues in Research. And we're going to start off with a look at variables just in general and operational definitions, a very, very important concept necessary in order to even do research. Let's talk about variables. So a variable in science in general, and therefore in experimental psychology as well, a variable is any event, situation, behavior, individual characteristic that varies. So that is a very important concept. It has to be able to be different. It has to be a behavior that can change or changes amongst individuals, or maybe within an individual. It's got to be something that changes or can change. It's got to be an individual characteristic that varies, some event that some people experience but other people don't. You know, it needs to be a behavior or a situation that is able to be different, able to vary, able. So one classic example is height. Height is a variable because you can be different heights. So these are the heights of a lot of leading men in Hollywood, and you can see Kilraven over here, 5'10", Magneto, 5'11", Bane, 5'9". That was surprising. They actually used a lot of techniques to make him look taller. And then we got Loki right there and Thor right there, getting to 6'2", 6'3". But the key thing here is that height is a variable because it can be different. You can get people that are above 6 feet. You can get people that are below 6 feet. It's something that can be different between different individuals. Some Hunger Game fans are surprised.
He's 5'5".
You know.
They make him look so much taller in the movies.
You know what happens to childhood actors? I don't know if he was a childhood actor.
He was.
But he was. You'll notice that there's not a lot of childhood actors here. And you'll also notice that oftentimes a childhood actor will sort of just, go into the, off into the sunset. One of the reasons childhood actors are so good at what they do is because they look incredibly young. If you're playing a 5-year-old in Hollywood, you're probably 10, right? You're probably 9, 10 years old. And those are the individuals who just naturally aren't very tall, because that's one of the things that makes you look young. So you get somebody like Elijah Wood, right? Great child actor, great actor in general. He's not very tall, right? So and you couple that with the fact that Hollywood likes their leading men, tall, dark, and handsome. That's the kind of cliche, and that's what happens to a lot of childhood actors.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm more upset that Michael B. Jordan's only 5'10".
Yeah, I know. Well, there is like that 6 foot threshold, right? It's kind of like that standard that they want to get. So.
They must surround him by short.
And then because Star-Lord there, because leading men are supposed to be tall and taller than leading ladies. People that are women that are naturally tall, like Nicole Kidman, Gina Davis, I think there was one more. Daryl Hannah, I think, was super tall. Natasha Henstridge was really tall. They have trouble finding movies that they can be in because you don't want to put them next to Dave Franco, right? And Dave Franco saying, "I need you in my life. You have to be, here with me." So. All right. So, anyways, variable. Let's get back to the method at hand.
You pull Michael B. Jordan up.
Speed. So, speed, a behavior, the ability to run the 100-meter dash. That's a variable, right? How fast can you run the 100-meter dash? So that's. His name just ran out of my head. He's like Usain Bolt. Thank you. That's Usain Bolt when he set the record 9.58 seconds. Nobody's ever been that fast again. And it's variable. Some people are above 10 seconds, very few are below 10 seconds. Only 12 people in the history of the world have run 9:82 or less. He's the fastest male, and there's your fastest female. Does anybody know who this is? This is Florence Griffith Joyner. She set the record for women back in 1988, so nobody has broken it since. And she clocked in at about 10 and a half seconds. So variable, right? Over 10, under 10, it can be different. Other things that have, so it has to vary. A variable has to be different, has to be able to be different. And what we call those different amounts of a variable, they're called levels. So height has a variety of different levels. You can be 5'5", 5'6", 5'7", 5'10". A variable has to have at least two. You have to have at least two variables where you can be this or you can be that at least. You can have more, but you need to have at least two. So an example of a variable that used to only have two would be gender. So not that long ago, there was two genders. You were male or you were female. Now it's a variable because it's different across, in this case, it's an individual characteristic. Some people were male, some people were female. What's happened in the intervening years is that more levels to this have been added, right? So now there's more, it's on the continuum, and there's different ones on the continuum, and I don't know the name of any of them because they continually change, but importantly, many more levels than there were before. If you take a look at things like sexual orientation, if everybody was heterosexual, sexual orientation would not be a variable, right? Because if everybody's heterosexual, it doesn't vary, so it's not a variable. As soon as you add one other level, so we got heterosexual, we have lesbian, now it's a variable because people can be different things. And as we probably have encountered, there is a lot of levels now for sexual orientation. Actually, so many that they put in the plus. So the LGBT, I forgot the I. The LGBTQIA got so long. I mean, it's just difficult to say. Where you're like, oh yeah, the LGBT, foundation, the LGBT parade. Well, what about this one? Okay, so LGBTQ. What about I? What about LGBTI? It got too much, so they just put the plus. This is everyone else. And again, we have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got the I. 8, 9 9 levels that sexual orientation can take. All right, so that's the idea of variables. And variables in psychology, things like cognitive task performance. So do you have a fast reaction time, slow reaction time? Can you remember a lot of words? Can you not remember a lot of words? Do you have a high IQ? Do you have a lower IQ? Those are variables. Levels of depression, some people are highly depressed, some people are not. Levels of intelligence, I mentioned that. IQ scores. Reaction times. So if you're a boxer or a goaltender in a professional sport, you have very quick reaction times. If you're not good at those skills, you got poor reaction times. Rates of forgetting, aggression, speaker credibility, attitude change, anger, stress, age, self-esteem. There's a ton of variables that we have in psychology. And importantly though, it needs to be something that can change. It needs to be something that can vary, at least between individuals. So being born is not a variable in psychology because as far as I know, all of us have been born, right? So that's not a variable because somebody can't be here saying, I wasn't born, I'm different on that. Well, you can say it, but it's not going to be true. But that's the thing, like it has to vary. So always be aware that it needs to be able to be different across different individuals.